Hey 302, I'm Jackie Ferris. From stress relief to a sweet indulgence, lavender is a multifaceted marvel of nature. We're at Lavender Fields in Milton. Take it in, the 302 is gonna smell good to you. Hey there, welcome to Lavender Fields, where it's beautiful, it smells amazing, and there's just so much to explore here, and we're going to explore all of it with Heather Sullivan. Heather, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for coming out. It's a great day to be out here. It's a little warm, but it's always a good day when the lavender is in bloom.
Definitely. Now, lavender isn't the first crop that has been grown on this property. As a matter of fact, the property has a very storied history.
It does. This property has a long history. It actually dates back to 1684. Originally, what stands today is 5 acres, but this was part of a 1,000-acre patent. Back then, at one point in its history, there was about 3,400 peach trees here on the property. And then later it switched to sorghum, sugar, and other small fruit trees were here throughout the property. But today, of course, it's lavender.
Now, when did lavender, when was it planted here?
So lavender actually started in 1994 with Pauline Pettit. Pauline was the original lavender lady. She came from England, so she was very well versed in all things lavender. And so she did start the farm back then as a lavender farm and a bed and breakfast. So if you came to visit Pauline, you could spend 5 minutes or you could spend a whole weekend here with her.
So whenever you look out at the lavender, you have different kinds of lavender, or is it one kind?
So on the property today, we have about 36 different kinds of lavender. We have 2 varieties. We have English and we have French. But today when you look at the farm, what you're going to see in bloom right now is English lavender, and it's the hidcote variety that we have on the property right now.
That's surprising that there are 36 different varieties.
Yeah. Yep.
Do they smell different or taste different? Or?
They do. If you look behind me, what you're going to see is the English lavender, that hidcote again. And it can be used for just about anything, crafting, but it can also be culinary. We also have French varieties, and those varieties are typically used for bath and body products like soaps and lotions. And that's because of the camphor that's actually in the plant itself, and so then it gives it that soapy, perfumey taste. Whereas the English, the hidcote, the Munsteads, and the others in those plants, they actually have more of a typical herbaceous culinary flavor to them. So you good in the kitchen. You
have a lot of visitors that come out and just, there's a lot to do here. What can a visitor do when they come to visit you?
So you can come, we open every day from 10 to 4. Quite often a lot of people are here before 10, but you can just stroll the fields. June is the best time to come, of course, because we are blooming. But you can walk the fields, you can visit throughout the gardens that we have, stroll through the gardens. You can visit the cottage store. You can walk our labyrinth that's over on the left-hand side of the property. We have a huge vegetable garden that you can come to the fence and see what's blooming in the garden itself. There's lots to do.
And I know that you mentioned the vegetable garden, but you have other gardens. There's several different gardens that, depending upon the time of year, just gorgeous.
So things change here. Of course, now the lavender's blooming. That kind of comes in and gets harvested, and then it kind of goes dormant for a bit, but then it will green up again. But throughout, as the lavender may not be here in bloom, the perennial beds, you can look behind us, there's lots of perennial gardens. And probably the show in the fall are the dahlias that we have. We have a 72-bed dahlia garden. It's over behind the big house that Marie lives in, the owner. And those bloom typically from August through the first frost. So they're just amazing. That's always something to stop and look and get an idea of all the different sizes and shapes and colors that those come in.
I can imagine it must be quite a task with so many things. It's like blooming in waves. Talk a little bit about the staff and the work that you guys do here daily.
So we're not a lot of people. We have ladies that run the store. Janet Swain is the store manager, and Sherry. They both work in the store throughout the season. Outside we have our farmhand Carl. He's here throughout the summer with us, and then he goes home to Jamaica. We have our farmer, Taylor Height, so he's doing our vegetable garden. We do have our soap making facility here, and our newest hire is Janelle, so she's back in there making soap. We're not a lot of people here. We do have our Bobby that runs our office and does a lot of our wholesale things that we get in, our orders through wholesale. And then it's me, and I have Joe. Joe is the guy that does a lot of the yard work. He cuts the grass and he plants a lot of the flowers that you see throughout the farm.
Now I know a lot of folks, you said you're open from 10 to 4, but a lot of folks do things online. Is there a website that they can, and is it just lavender they can buy?
So we do have a website. It's www.lavenderfieldsde.com, and you absolutely can shop with us online. Our online actually helped us through the COVID. We were constantly at the post office. I got to be best friends with the postmaster in Harbison. You know, there were days we were taking 60, 70 packages a day to the post office. So online you can find everything that we have in the cottage store. We do soaps and lotions, our bug away. If it's in there, you know, we ship it online, or you can, excuse me, or you can call and say, hey, I didn't see it online. Where's the sugar? You know, where's the culinary stuff? I don't see it online. So we do ship quite a bit of stuff online.
Now you mentioned some of the things that lavender makes. We want to get deeper into that, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, Heidi Benson here, artist teacher at the Center for Creative Arts, inspiring your creative journey here on the 302.
Welcome back. We're at Lavender Fields, exploring and discovering all the things that you can do with lavender. Now, Heather, lavender, you can eat lavender. First of all, I've had it in lemon and lavender ice cream, and it was delicious.
Absolutely. Lavender is an herb. It's in the same family as rosemary, sage, and thyme. So it's great for lots of different things in the kitchen. You can make sweets and you can make savories. Most people, if you've never had lavender, probably the easiest thing to do is to go to a local farmer's market and buy any kind of veg that you see, potatoes, squash, Brussels sprouts. And what you can use is our herbs de Provence. In the store we have a bunch of different herbs that we do. And the herbs de Provence comes in two kinds. It can be plain herbs, or you can fancy it up with some French gray sea salt. So all you do is, you know, get some potatoes or something and slice those up with some extra virgin olive oil, sprinkle your herbs on there, and then toss it in the oven. It's hot today, you might want to throw it on the grill with a chicken breast, same thing with some herbs de Provence, and then, you know, just cook and wait for it to get done, and it's just delicious. At the end of your regular supper, you can have your sweet treat. Again, with lavender, you can take just culinary lavender with some sugar. You kind of meld those flavors together, and then you can make things like scones and cookies, cakes, anything that calls for sugar. You can always add in our culinary lavender and sugar blend that we do. You can make lemonades, you can sweeten your tea or your coffee. It's just something that's so easy to use, and it adds a little bit of extra to something that might be ordinary otherwise. So it's very easy to use. So at the farm, we do have a bunch of different kinds that you can choose from, but in the kitchen, most people use the English lavender. And it's just because it has that great regular culinary herbaceous taste to it. Whereas the French lavender, again, has camphor in it, so it's a little bit different, a little soapy or perfumey.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you could describe what lavender tastes like whenever you're using it. You said herby and...
Yeah, it has, you know, it tastes like I don't know, it tastes like an herb. I mean, it has a great flavor. It's not sweet or spicy. And it's not perfumey. Some people may have had lavender in the past, and maybe someone used too much in a cookie or in a lemonade, and it just tastes overpowering. With lavender, a little bit goes a long way. It just has a great, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a great flavor. It's just extra special when you add it into things.
Now you guys sell the lavender sugar?
So we do. In the store, we actually have a whole section just for culinary items. So we do sugars, we do extract that we make here at the farm. We also do lavender vinegar. Later this week, I'm going to be cutting some fresh lavender to add to some vinegar. And those flavors kind of meld together, and then you can use that in salad. The lavender vinegar is great as a marinade. Again, go to the farmer's market and look for local veg like cucumbers and onions, and then you can make yourself a little side salad with lavender vinegar. It's really very good.
It sounds like you guys, and I'm going to say you probably have a cookbook, but it sounds like you need one.
Well, there are cookbooks out. We haven't made any like official cookbooks. I always at the market, I do the markets here locally. We do a Lewis market. Rehoboth Beach has a farmer's market, and I'm also in Bethany on Sundays. We give recipe cards for all of the culinary items that we sell, so we try to make it very easy for everyone to get a great start in being introduced into the lavender.
And people love that these days. They're all about doing it themselves, doing things in the kitchen, but there's also some homeopathic medicinal purposes for lavender.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at Lavender Fields in the store, we do sell lots of items to help wind you down at the end of the day, and it's because of the lavender. Lavender is very well known for being very relaxing. It's a calmative. You can come into the store and we have essential oil, and you can put it in something as simple as a diffuser or add a few drops to your pajamas at night to help you wind down, or put drops on your pillow. Lavender is very well known as a calmative. It's also pretty well known as being antiseptic and antibacterial, so you can add it to things like cuts and scrapes and bruises. You can put it on bug bites and bee stings, and it helps to take those issues away. I found out the other day I'm allergic to borage, so I had touched a little bit of the plant and my whole arm broke out in a rash, and I just added a little lavender essential oil and it helped to take that issue, that redness away. It's like a miracle. The
one thing that I found really interesting, and when preparing for our conversation, was that lavender actually changes a chemical makeup in your brain after you inhale it. Can you tell us about that?
It does. It's because of the linalool in there, and it does something with your limbic system. So it goes into your memory receptors, and it does something within your brain that allows you to actually calm down and relax, and it works on your memory. So a lot of people remember things through smell. You might close your eyes and say, oh, I remember that from my childhood. And lavender is that same way. It will bring back memories.
You must really enjoy your job. I mean, this seems like it'd be a great place to work for so many reasons.
Yeah, I love being here. This is my second job. I used to work for USA years and years ago. And we moved here, and I found the lavender ladies, through the farmer's market, and they offered me a job, and I've never left. It's been a great place to work. I love it here. If
you wanted someone to share an experience or tell people how they can have a really good experience when they come out, what should they do? What time should they come? I mean, is it the kind of thing where you can bring a lunch and just relax, or what's a perfect day for a visitor here?
So, everyone's welcome. Everybody finds a different, reason for coming. This time of the year, we've had a lot of pictures, of course, because of the lavender in bloom, coming out for pictures. A lot of local graduates have come out to get, their graduation photographs. Anytime is really a good time. Whether it's blooming or not blooming, everybody finds something here that's enjoyable. It's really the perfect place. Often in the morning when I come in, there are people sitting under the trees over there with a cup of coffee and a crossword puzzle, really just enjoying the peacefulness and the quiet that we have here on the farm. It's close enough to things, but it's far enough away from everything to, to feel like you're away.
Well, you also have a very unique attraction in the labyrinth, and we're going to talk about that when we return.
Hello, I'm Michael, the operations manager here at the AMC Museum. We'd love to fly here with the 302.
Welcome back. We've been exploring all of the really cool things there are to see and to taste when we talk about culinary lavender here at Lavender Fields. But there's one thing that might actually surprise you. Now, Heather, let's talk a little bit about that labyrinth that you have back there. What's the story behind that?
So the labyrinth is located on the left-hand side of our property, kind of beyond our grove area. And that's really a place that's really a destination. A lot of people will come out, and early in the morning you'll see them out over there underneath the arbor. The arbor that's located at the front of the labyrinth is covered in wisteria. So in May, it's a beautiful vision of drippy purple flowers. And once you walk through the arbor, you are actually in the labyrinth. The labyrinth itself was actually laid out by Sharon Harris. Marie Mayer and Sharon Harris were the original owners of the property, or are the owners of the property. And Sharon and Marie, once they bought the farm, they decided it was time to learn all about lavender. So one of their trips to France, they actually stopped right outside of Paris and they visited the Cathedral of Chartres. And in that cathedral itself, on the floor of the cathedral was a labyrinth. And Sharon was so taken with the labyrinth that she took a lot of pictures on that visit. She did a lot of research when she came home, and she decided that she wanted a labyrinth for herself. So with her research, she was ready to go, and what she did was she got knee pads, a string, and a compass, and she actually laid the labyrinth out by herself.
That's amazing. What was it about the labyrinth? I know that there's some history tied to it about the use of the labyrinth. Was that what spoke to her, or?
So I believe so. Labyrinths were used at the time as a meditative and contemplative, form of, thing. And so Sharon, I guess she was drawn to that. She just decided that it was something that not only her and Marie could enjoy, but other visitors. If she laid out her labyrinth, people would come and want to walk it. So when she did that, she actually did an exact duplicate again. It's the same as the one that you can visit right outside of Paris. It's 11 circuits to walk. It's a half mile. And the idea is that once you enter the labyrinth, then you walk the path. It doesn't matter which way you go, but you always land in the center. And as you're walking it, you should be releasing things that weigh heavily on you, kind of letting things go. It's very spiritual as you're doing it. And then once you get into the center, hopefully you kind of dump those worries and things that weigh heavy on you, and it's time to start a new path. So once you're in the center, it's time to start a new journey. So you turn out, you walk back out, and it's on a different path, hopefully. And when you exit the labyrinth, you're hopefully renewed and feeling, I guess, more free of worry and stress.
That's really kind of falls just in line with, this place. I mean, lavender is something that nourishes your body. It can heal your body.
Absolutely.
And this speaks to, I guess, the soul and the spirit.
Yes, absolutely. And it's amazing the amount of people that find our labyrinth, and everybody's journey is different, but they all really find that it's very enjoyable and spiritual, and it's just lovely. It's peaceful in there. Earlier, before you folks got here, there were people in there playing the guitar and having, just their special time in there. It was lovely.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that people come for the labyrinth and then discover the lavender, or they come for the lavender and discover the labyrinth?
I think it's probably both. I think, people hear that we're a lavender farm, and then they do find that we have a labyrinth. I think it's a little bit of both, People are drawn by the lavender, they hear that we're a farm, and then they come and they don't realize that it's this much lavender. They think it's just maybe a few plants, not the over 5,000 plants that we have in the fields.
Now, tell me a little bit about, I know you guys have activities, you have events, things like that. I saw a sign, it said art show here. So talk to me about the events that you have out here.
So this year we're trying to increase the things that we do here at the farm. Last year we were a little, I'd say under the weather on events, but this year we're really trying to open the farm back up for everyone to come out and do different things. Right now we have an art show in our barn. The barn that's holding the art show is actually historic to the property. It was part of the Brittingham family. When they were here, they actually ran this as a dairy farm, so that was part of them. And right now it's an art show. We do host small events like weddings and tea parties and different things like that. That's what's going on in there now. We'd like to have guests come out in the near future and do more classes. I like to teach people, my thing is the lavender, so I like to teach people about planting lavender and really being successful, and then really what to do with it. Once you get it in your yard, what do you do with it? It's gorgeous, but use it, harvest it, and make things, and really bring it into the home.
More people should plant it in their yards, because even if they don't eat it, it's a repellent though.
Yeah, lavender is a natural insect repellent, so if you have it in your yard, plant it in a spot that's close to where you hang out. At your patio, maybe coming into your front door, or maybe at your mailbox. And every once in a while, give it a squeeze, kind of manipulate the flower and the stems, and that releases the lavender scent into the air. So it keeps mosquitoes away, and of course the deer, they won't eat it. Deer don't like the flavor of it, so it's not something that, very often will disappear overnight because, something has eaten it to the ground.
So when you say give it a squeeze, we're taught not to touch and mess stuff up, especially plants. But you say squeeze, how exactly? Just give it a...
Yeah, so lavender, behind us we have French lavender directly behind us. But if you were to walk out and stand by the plant, if you give it a gentle squeeze, it releases the oils in the plant itself. It's like any herb. I don't do much cooking, but I know that when you're in the kitchen, if you're using herbs, you should always muddle them a little bit to release the oils and kind of perk up that flavor, that scent. And it's the same with lavender. You would want to, manipulate it a little bit to kind of release that smell.
And by muddling, it's just kind of smashing it a little bit.
Yeah,
I know all about that.
There you go. Yes.
Well, Heather, thank you so much. Again, the website if someone wants to come and visit or purchase something.
Yeah, we're at www.lavenderfieldsde.com. And you can visit the website, or you can call us directly at 302-664-2900.
Well, this has really been enjoyable and entertaining and educational, so the 3 E's, perfect.
Thank you,
Heather.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. For more information on Lavender Fields, you can visit their website, lavenderfieldsde.com. That'll do it for this episode of the 302. We're going to leave you with the sights and sounds of this beautiful and lush piece of land. Until next time, tell them you saw it on the 302.